Hey, welcome back.
What up?
It's been a little while. This is
It has. It's been a long time.
Yeah, this is Tyler,
And this is Meg.
and we're here to talk to you about some of our favorite movies from 2017 that we wanted to share with you.
We're a little late, but better late than never.
We're almost halfway through 2018, but that's okay.
I didn't see 2 out of my 3 favorites until I think 2018.
Yeah, it's actually a good point. I am in a pretty similar position to you. I saw a lot of 2017 movies this year instead.
We didn't go to the theater a lot last year.
No.
That budget life, though.
Yeah, well, I actually remember we almost started making this video a few months ago, and I came back and, reassessed this, but I didn't have the old list that I made, so I was starting from scratch, and I realized that I had seen more movies, and I had
And I think better movies, too.
I had a little bit of a better handle. One of the reasons was because I didn't really have that many that I wanted to talk about.
Right.
But now I have a solid 3 that I could definitely recommend to people out there.
So we each have 3 to talk about.
Yep.
Also, our dog is here and he's chewing on a treat, so if you hear some munching, that's him going to town on his snack.
Yeah, this is like a mukbang, except the dog is eating, not us.
So it's even better.
Okay, so I don't even... Who goes first? You want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
You want me to go first? All right. There is a movie I saw. I usually have the years written down here, but I don't.
They're all 2017.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're going to edit that part out.
No, we're not.
We're just going to edit that out. Okay. There's a movie that came out last year called It Comes at Night. And this is a movie about, basically it's like post-apocalyptic. If you've ever played The Last of Us, think Last of Us. If you know what post-apocalyptic means, think about that. There's this family, they kind of live secluded, and then another group of people, is like out of resources, or they lost their place or whatever, and they want to come join forces or what have you. And they do join, and the whole movie is kind of about these themes of like who can you trust and who can't you trust, and what does it take to trust someone, especially in a situation as extreme as that compared to our normal lives.
I didn't see this movie.
No, you were in the room when I watched it, but
we were going to watch it together, but I ended up not paying attention. I think I was like on my computer and just ended up completely missing the whole movie.
Yeah. I'll say that it was like a super slow movie. Hopefully this description, because this is just like basically recommendations. I just want to tell you a little about the movie, and if it sounds like your kind of thing, then cool. And if it doesn't, then cool.
Yeah, we're going to be like super quick, no spoilers.
Yeah. So basically it's just like, it's a pretty slow movie. Not a ton happens except for dialogue and some visual storytelling, and it's a lot of just like interpersonal drama between these two groups that ended up coming together. If that sounds interesting to you, because that's pretty much the whole movie, then definitely see it, because it's a really good depiction of that. And if that doesn't sound interesting to you, or you don't really like slow movies like that, slow burns, then definitely don't check it out. But I really liked it.
I think a lot of people really liked that movie, didn't they?
I think a lot of people liked it, yeah. I do remember some of the more popular critics that I follow did not like it, and then some of them did, so it was at least a little polarizing.
It's so funny. My 2 favorite movies of last year were both like universally hated.
Really?
So I love them, but no one else does.
But yeah, this movie, It Comes at Night, you should definitely check it out. I think probably, depending on if you like the description that I just gave it. So cool. I'm done.
Okay. My number 3 movie is not a movie that was universally hated. People were actually obsessed with this movie.
Okay.
And it is Get Out.
Oh, Get Out.
Jordan Peele.
Yep.
So I feel like everyone has seen it. Everyone loves it. But for anyone who didn't see it, and without giving spoilers, I'll describe it kind of how the people who worked on the movie described it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but like
Is that the name of another
version.
movie?
Yeah, that's like an old movie about a white woman who's dating a black man and takes him home to meet her family.
Uh-huh.
And I've never seen it, but
is it a comedy?
I don't know. It might be. And then they did that like kind of spin-off in the early 2000s with Ashton Kutcher and Zoe Saldana, where it was like the opposite. She was bringing a white guy home, and Bernie Mac, I think, was her dad. I never saw that either. But,
I bet you that was a comedy.
Yeah, so it's like a really, really smart. We're talking about Get Out now, not not Guess Who with Ashton Kutcher. It's a really smart horror movie, and it has a lot of great like racial undertones. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I really understand the plight of African Americans in our country.
We're both white.
Yeah. But it just shows a lot of the everyday kind of struggles that they go through, and like the everyday little prejudices that a lot of people probably think are harmless.
Yeah.
So, but my favorite part is just that it's like a really fun and interesting horror movie.
Yeah, I actually liked that too a lot. You know, some movies will, you know, talk about something like that kind of in symbolism, and some movies will just like flat out say it. I think this movie does both. Like, there's a lot of symbolism in there that talks about, you know, this idea of, you know, like modern racism.
A lot of people think racism is dead, and it's totally not. I don't know
alive.
What moron would think that.
But the movie kind of talks about that, definitely with some symbolism. But like you said, one thing I like is that it actually just has like regular day-to-day examples. Like, one character is talking to another character, and the white of the two characters says something that seems totally normal to them, but like it's very
it's like they don't mean harm by it, but that's not an excuse for ignorance.
It's so interesting, actually.
But yeah, that's kind of the setup, that this white girl is bringing home her black boyfriend to meet her family, and you know, he's not accepted as she may have hoped, and things kind of get a little bit twisted from there.
Yeah. I also liked that movie.
It's funny, all of my movies are kind of like creepy movies.
Oh,
like,
yeah?
I wouldn't call them horror movies, maybe this one, but all of them are a little spooky.
Yeah, I like that movie. It's a good one.
Yeah. But you've probably seen it already, so.
Yeah, probably everybody listening to this, if they're watching because they're like, oh, I have an opinion about that year. I wonder if we line up. You've definitely seen Get Out, and you probably liked it. And it won some awards. Yeah,
it won Best Screenplay, I think, at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Oh, and the performances were really, really good, especially Daniel Kaluuya. Is that how you say his last name?
I think so.
I thought he was amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He was in that, what do you call it, episode?
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's very talented.
Yeah, I kind of was like meh after that episode of Black Mirror, but after seeing him in this movie, like, if he's in something else, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, I think he is really, really talented.
Yeah. Okay. Is that it for Get Out?
I think that's it.
Think people should watch it?
I think they definitely should.
Everyone should.
It was hard to pick a third movie for me, though. So there were kind of a few movies that I was like, oh, what should be the last one that I throw in? And Get Out ended up being that.
Okay.
But it was hard to land on that one.
Okay, so it could have been something else.
Could have been,
in
but
an
it wasn't.
alternate reality. Okay. Well, speaking of alternate realities, I'm going to talk about a movie that does not have alternate realities, but I think they might cover like alternate timelines in another movie in the same series, but not in this movie, so it doesn't matter. So it's a bad segue. But I'm going to talk about Logan. Logan is a 2017 movie. It's an X-Men movie. It's about Wolverine, and he ends up running into this little girl who ends up having the same powers as him, and it is just like this basically road trip movie where Logan is kind of relearning the importance of everything that he's done, because he's kind of old now and he's kind of jaded, and you know, him and Charles are, you know, on this, you know, I want to call it a road trip, but they're not on a road trip yet. They're basically in hiding. But Charles is kind of trying to tell Logan, like, you know, this is important. You have to take care of this girl. Like, she's going to continue the legacy of us. And Logan just, like, is not having it. And so the movie is kind of about that argument, basically. The movie does a really good job of sending off Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I don't know if we'll see him in that role again. It does a really good job of sending off the Charles Xavier character. I don't know if we'll see what's-his-face as him again. And it kind of ushers in this idea of a new group of mutants to take over the franchise. So theoretically, we might get some movies that take those characters and continue it on. But the reason I'm saying that is because that's kind of the point of the movie, is Logan realizing the importance of passing the torch, and I guess that's as much as I can say without spoiling anything. But it's pretty good. If you like comic book movies at all, you will like this movie. If you like movies in general, you'll probably like this movie. You don't really have to know any of the characters to enjoy it, but a lot of the weight behind everything that happens is predicated on you kind of caring about them. I didn't really have a lot to complain about in that movie, but I will say that I liked the ending more than I liked the rest of the movie. But the ending counts a lot for me, so I ended up liking it a lot. It just wraps up really nicely.
I didn't see this one either.
You were in the room.
I haven't seen any of your movies.
You were in the room when I watched at least part of Logan, but you didn't watch it.
I've never seen any X-Men movie, I don't think.
Well, I haven't seen most of them, so, you know, something like, Infinity War, like, ties up a bunch of stuff that I have been privy to. But Logan ties up a bunch of stuff that I did not watch, but I kind of know the general gist of what happens in the X-Men movies. But even so, even not having seen most of them, it was pretty good. And I felt what they wanted me to feel, even though I hadn't seen the other movies. So it was good.
Cool.
So I'd say check it out. Okay, your turn.
Okay. So my number 2 is Mother.
Mother.
Starring Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem.
Okay, and this is directed by Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky, yes.
Yep. And he directed
Black Swan.
And didn't he do Requiem for a Dream?
Yeah.
Okay.
He did.
I didn't know the same person did Black Swan and Requiem for a Dream. Okay.
What a talent.
Yeah, what a talent.
That Aronofsky.
Love Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan.
Yeah, I love both of those.
I didn't really love Mother that much.
No one did. I think I'm the only person who liked Mother. It is, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it is a story about a husband and wife who live in a beautiful farmhouse that they're fixing up. It's been damaged in a fire, in an accident that they talk about. And they are surprised by some kind of unwelcomed visitors, uninvited visitors that Jennifer Lawrence's husband in the movie wants to take in. And I don't think this is a spoiler because I knew about this before I saw the movie, but if you don't want to know anything about Mother, I guess don't listen for a couple of minutes because I'm going to talk about the symbolism.
Okay.
And so it's basically like a metaphor of the Bible. And Jennifer Lawrence is supposed to be Mother Earth. Javier Bardem plays God, the God character. And then their unwelcomed visitors are like humankind who are basically like plaguing the earth and destroying it.
Yeah.
and Javier Bardem's character just cannot like give up on these people. He has to love them, and he has to let them be in this house.
Yeah.
And they basically just destroy this house.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Lawrence's life. And it was really disturbing and stressful, and I had like a lot of anxiety watching it. But I thought it was so good and really impactful. And Jennifer Lawrence was nominated for a Razzie for this, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like the opposite of the Oscars. It's like for the worst performances.
Yeah.
And I was so shocked because I thought she was incredible in this movie. And yeah, I don't think there's much else I can say about it because I don't want to give away. I feel like I've given away too much already.
Yeah, I really liked the concept of this movie. It didn't 100%, hit a home run for me. One thing that I did kind of take away from it, in addition to the biblical stuff, is there's a lot of like environmental symbolism going on in the movie. And so this idea of, whether or not the Javier Bardem character as God is even in the movie, you still have the earth, which is being destroyed by humankind. And so this idea that maybe we should not do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of simple.
Because Mother Nature will show us her wrath.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of people said that Jennifer Lawrence's character was like very passive in the movie and like lets all of this these horrible things happen to her and around her. I didn't think that she was passive at all. I think that she was just like completely disrespected, and she tried to like make herself heard, and people just would not listen to her.
Yeah, I feel like if you kind of take it that seriously, because this movie kind of treads that line almost perfectly between reality and not so much reality.
Yeah, I feel like you really can't watch it as just like a popcorn movie, like expecting like a beginning, a middle, and end, and like character arcs, because it's just not like that. It's borderline like an art house kind of film. But for some reason, it really connected with me. I really dug this movie.
Yeah, I feel like that complaint, and we're gonna start straw manning here because we don't have the person who said the complaint to argue with them, but I feel like that complaint's a little silly if you've watched the entire movie. Maybe you're halfway through the movie and you're like, why isn't she doing anything? But once you finish the movie and you kind of understand like the point of everything that's happened, it doesn't, even if she was passive, it doesn't even really matter. That's not the point.
Right.
If this was a movie that was a little more grounded in reality, which I actually would have liked it more this way, but it is what it is. He wanted to make the movie obviously the way he wanted to make it, but if it was more of a thing where things were a little more realistic and the symbolism was there but it was lighter, then I could imagine understanding like if people were mad about her being passive. But it's not. I think
a lot of people hated it too, just because it was so disturbing, and we're like not saying what happens, but I think a lot of people know what happens in the movie. And I don't feel like that's a reason to hate a movie just because it shows you something that you don't want to see.
No.
It's about, what serves the movie, what serves the project, and makes it the story that it should be. Yeah,
why are they showing you the thing that you don't want to see?
Yeah, I don't think they do it just for shock value. I think it has a point in the story. But anyway, I recommend Mother. But you might hate it.
Yeah, F the haters. Watch Mother, except I didn't really like it that much, but Megan likes it, so you should watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing else to say about Mother?
That's it.
Okay. How do I segue into this? This is the last movie you want to see on a day where you don't want to watch Star Wars.
What?
This is the last movie you want to see on a day that you don't want to watch Star Wars. So if you don't want to watch Star Wars, you wouldn't watch this.
Because it's a Star Wars movie.
Right.
Okay.
That's right. Okay, so if you're paying any amount of attention, you know that in 2017 only one Star Wars movie came out. It is called Star Wars: The Last Jedi. This is a movie that some people listening, I don't even imagine anybody listens to this, but let's say...
We had a comment on one of our podcasts. Don't forget that. Our
yeah.
Amanda Knox podcast, someone said, I agree with your theory and great jokes.
Oh my God.
And I just about peed my pants.
That is incredible. Thank you for liking my jokes.
Someone other than Jeremiah commented on our podcast.
That is incredible. Please keep watching. If you liked Amanda Knox and like that's what you need us to talk about is these murders, then let's get going. That's what we're gonna do.
I really wanted to do more true crime podcasts, but I was not anticipating feeling the way I felt after doing that. I felt like borderline wrong for talking about that.
Oh, like...
I felt kind of uncomfortable.
Like it was unethical?
Not unethical. It just made me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which I did not expect because I watch true crime stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But it just felt a little bit disrespectful doing it myself. I don't know.
Well, I think... Whatever. We don't have to do it. But we did talk about doing Zodiac, or the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, yeah. Because that movie is amazing.
But we didn't end up doing that, but I really like that movie. And that movie's disturbing. But anyway, we're talking about Star Wars. And Star Wars is not disturbing, except to a lot of people it is. A lot of people did not like this movie.
We've got some movies on our list that were not really popular.
Yeah. The Last Jedi is a huge one that is not popular. Not saying like tons of people don't like it, but the people that don't like it...
I'd say it's at least half.
Yeah. I would say that, and I would say that group is extremely vocal.
Yeah.
They are very happy to say that they don't like the movie. I think that this movie is one of the... Man, sorry, if you don't like this movie, you're probably going to stop watching this right now after I say
Don't
this.
turn it off. I still have a movie to talk about.
Yeah, Megan still has to talk about something after Star Wars. But I'm just going to say right out the gate that this is probably the best Star Wars movie of all time.
I loved this movie.
And I think it's my favorite Star Wars movie ever. You said you love this movie.
Mm-hmm. I just think the sequel trilogy is so good.
Yeah.
I think they're the best Star Wars movies.
They definitely...
Like,
they are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't hate me.
Somebody out there, if they're listening to this, they hate you.
They're better than the originals. They really just are.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a little while since I watched the originals, but I know what happens in them. I watched them at least within the last couple of years. So my mind is fresh enough to know that we have, in the sequel trilogy, a way better villain. We have relatively better protagonists. We have a more just interesting story. We have a fresher take on Star Wars. We have something that comments on Star Wars in general. And you know,
General Hux.
General Hux. Is that like a pun? Are you doing a pun?
Yeah, it was.
That's really good. I cannot believe that you would do such a thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about the movie. This movie has been talked about probably a million times over by a million people. And I have a lot that I'd like to say about the movie.
We tried to make a video about it, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't, organize my thoughts about it.
Yeah. I have so many things I'd like to say about this movie, but all of my thoughts are kind of scattershot.
If you can ever figure out how to have a special guest on the podcast, you should talk about it with a special guest.
Yeah, I think that would be probably a good move. I think that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I like the movie a lot. I think as a movie compared to other movies, it's good. As a movie compared to other Star Wars movies, it's incredible. It's incredibly advanced just compared to how basic the other Star Wars movies are and bad some of the Star Wars movies are.
Yeah.
It's just I honestly believe this, and I'm gonna sound probably pretentious for saying this, but I really think that the people that didn't like this movie, they're kind of just like stuck in the past, and I think this movie's a little ahead of its time.
It's definitely different than Star Wars has been. So.
Well, one thing that I kept hearing people say is that this feels different than the Star Wars that I know. This doesn't feel like Star Wars.
We just happen to feel like that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is like exactly.
But we don't disagree.
That's exactly what Star Wars needs. It needs to grow and adapt and change and evolve, and the movie even says that to your face. But some people don't agree with it.
I've liked it more the more times I've seen it too. Like the complaints that I had the first time I saw it, they don't even like bother me as much now, or like they're not even complaints anymore. I've just like everyone hates the Canto Bite stuff, and I've decided that I don't even really dislike it now.
Yeah, there's some specific nitpicks that I have that will never change, and usually things that will never change for me are like visual things. And this sounds like a stupid thing to nitpick about because it's, you know, it's everywhere and it's everything, and it'll always be a thing. But the computer generated stuff, it looks bad in a lot of places, and that's fine if you're looking at a movie like Phantom Menace that's, you know, dated because it's old. But this movie just came out last year, and
I think they did a lot more practical effects in this, though, and those looked really good.
Well, I think that the practical effects are really cool when they use them, but especially in the Canto Bite sequence when they're riding on those things. And
oh, yeah, you hate that part.
It just looks bad and fake, and also there's a part where they're riding on the whatever, the two-legged thing, robot. They're riding
ATST, I think.
They're riding that one with BB-8. It just looks so fake. Anything where people are riding things always looks bad to me. This is not the time to talk about Infinity War, but Infinity War looked really good, but there's this part with Mark Ruffalo in the Hulkbuster suit, and you see like his body hanging out of it, or his head or whatever, and it just looks so fake and bad. I just feel like you need to stop making people ride fake CGI things in movies, because it always doesn't look good.
Ground them.
Yeah. But ultimately, as far as things that actually matter, like characters and story and whatnot, my complaints are pretty few and far between when it comes to The Last Jedi. I feel like it's completely game-changing, and it makes me very excited to see what happens next.
I'm just completely obsessed with Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. I think it is the best character
He's incredible.
that has ever been in a Star Wars movie.
It's unreal because it's a combination of the character being written super well and them choosing a person who gives an amazing performance. And those two things haven't really come together in Star Wars ever before. Mm-hmm. I will say that like Ewan McGregor is super good as Obi-Wan, and people always point to him as one of the best parts of the prequels and Star Wars.
I hope he's going to be in the solo Obi-Wan movie.
Yeah.
The standalone Obi-Wan movie.
That would be wonderful.
Because that's been confirmed, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I will say that despite the fact that he plays the character well, the character doesn't have a lot to do, really, if you rewatch those movies. It's kind of a boring character.
I was just going to say, Obi-Wan's kind of boring.
It's kind of a boringly written character, but he does as much as he can with it because he's super good. Kylo Ren ends up being a really well-written character, and we get lucky that it's both well-written and well-acted, and it's just a fucking, like, perfect amalgamation.
It's a home run.
It's a home run.
And some people hate him, and I do not understand it.
I don't get it. I don't understand. We wanted to do this in about 30 minutes. We're at about 30 minutes now. You have one movie to go, so let's hit it.
I think we can cap this off real quick.
Yeah, if you like Star Wars, you should watch that movie, but you might hate it because everybody hates it, but it's super good, so watch it and try to keep an open mind for once.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing. Just keep an open mind.
I think when it comes to Star Wars, people are so closed-minded. People
hold it very near and dear.
They have their version of what they think Star Wars is supposed to be, and unfortunately they're wrong. Star Wars is whatever it ends up being. Star Wars is continually changing, and that's always going to happen, and that's okay. There's a famous interview or video or something with Stan Lee, the Marvel Comics guy, and he answers the age-old question, which superhero would win in a fight, superhero X or superhero Y? And he says the answer is whatever superhero the writers
Whatever
need.
we write.
Yeah, whatever
That's so funny.
whatever one they need to win at that time is the one that would win. Like, stop asking this question. It doesn't. It's like a non-question. It doesn't make sense. The point of me bringing up that video.
What a buzzkill that is.
What, for like people that like to dream about like
who would win, Superman or Spider-Man?
Yeah. Like, stop thinking about it. Just buy the things that we're creating. But I guess I'm just saying the point is these things are only what they actually are, and whatever version of it you have in your mind, that's not really what Star Wars is, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. And I think some people need to still come to terms with that. Okay. Depressing. Next movie.
Last movie. Also, I think we should kind of put it out there that we didn't see like a lot of movies last year. Like, we kind of touched on this at the beginning, but like when we were making our lists, we looked through all the movies that came out last year just to make sure we didn't miss anything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, there's so many movies that I didn't see and like wanted to see. Yeah. And we didn't see like any of the like big Oscar movies this year.
Yeah.
So kind of take it with a grain of salt, because maybe there are some movies that would have been favorites that we just haven't seen yet. Yeah,
for a little bit of context, I actually wrote down a couple numbers out of the movies that we did watch, or at least assuming my list is correct. We watched, what's 10 plus 8 plus 7?
What?
10 plus 8 plus 7. Can you do that math equation?
I don't want to. Why?
Oh, because that's how many movies we watched. Okay, anyway, there was about 10 movies that we watched that I didn't really like, approximately 8 that I'm kind of in the middle on, and about 7 that I did like. Go ahead, get out your calculator and add up those numbers, and that's how many movies we watched last year. Just for context, if you want to know how many we watched.
Okay, we still want to see Lady Bird really bad, and a lot of movies. But anyway, the movie that I did see and was my favorite out of the movies that I saw last year, and like head and shoulders above the other two that I talked about too. It's my favorite by a lot. And it is All I See Is You.
Oh, okay.
Starring Blake Lively.
Yep. We were just talking about this.
Yeah. And I feel like this isn't a movie that a lot of people saw. I don't know if it came out in theaters near us. We ended up renting it to see it. But, oh my god, it's so good. It's about a woman who's been blind most of her life. And she was blinded in an accident as like I think she was like 12 or 13. Yep. So she had sight and lost it in this accident, and she has been living her life normally as a blind woman, and she has a husband, and she's happy, and she gets surgery where she can see again. So her sight is restored, and the movie's kind of about how her suddenly being able to see as an adult for the first time affects her life and her marriage and the people around her, how it changes her personality. Yep. And it's so good. It had like a 40-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, why? Yeah. Why though?
I liked this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I take Rotten Tomatoes with a grain of salt. They're rotten.
So you liked this movie?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought the character played by what's-his-face was probably the best part of the movie.
I don't know that actor's name, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was in Terminator Genesis. He was the bad guy in Terminator Genesis, which is a spoiler, but the trailer spoiled it anyway, and nobody's going to see Terminator Genesis. But whatever his face's name is, he was super good in the movie as the husband to this blind girl. And man, the movie kind of like just takes some dark turns. It's fun. It's a fun exploration of that idea, like what would realistically happen if you were blind forever and you lived with someone with sight and you kind of relied on them, and then you could all of a sudden see what would happen.
It's so interesting too, because when she's blind, she kind of invents this own little world for herself, the way she sees things.
Mm-hmm.
And when she gets her sight back,
mm-hmm.
she's kind of disappointed
with
a lot of the realities of her life.
Yeah.
She's disappointed in where they live, like their apartment.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of disappointed in like her husband's appearance.
Yeah.
So many things, and it really like freaks her husband out, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts like, she dyes her hair and starts dressing differently, and it's just really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of dark, kind of like not scary, but
no,
I don't know, it has kind of like little tinges of like scares in there.
Yeah.
More like a real kind of scary. Like
yeah.
stuff you would fear in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I liked the movie. I didn't love it or hate it, but I'm not really in the middle. I'm definitely above the middle on that movie. I liked it. I had a good time watching it, and I think I would enjoy watching it again.
I thought Blake Lively was really good.
Yeah.
She actually she wore like blackout contact lenses when she was, doing the scenes in the movie when she was blind. So,
really?
Yeah, so she actually can't see when she's doing those scenes in the movie.
I did not know that.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. I think that my least favorite part of that movie, though, was when she was riding the CGI rhinoceros.
On a serious note, I think if there was a criticism that I would have of the movie, it's that it was a little bit predictable.
I was actually going to mention that. I cannot believe that I didn't say it, but I was thinking that while we were talking.
Yeah. For me, it didn't take away from the movie just because I was so into the story, and even though I saw some of like the twists coming,
mm-hmm.
I just thought it was so well done that it didn't bother me.
They don't even feel like twists, and they especially won't feel like twists if you watch the trailer. I would say this movie would be better watched without the trailer.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
But yeah, I would say see that movie. What is it called again?
All I See Is You.
All I See Is This Movie.
Oh, and this is something that we talked about like right after we watched the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been like 10 points cooler if it ended like a couple minutes sooner than it did.
Oh yeah, I remember being a little dissatisfied with the ending, but I don't even remember why. I don't remember the ending.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what happens.
Talk about it after.
But there's a part at the end of the movie where if they had just like cut to black at that point instead of having like 3 to 5 more minutes, it would have been so fucking cool.
I remember now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That would have been an amazing ending, actually. Yeah, that would have been dope. But no, they kept it going for a while.
You still get that cool moment though. So.
Yeah, it's a good moment. So many movies, I feel like, if they only ended it a little earlier.
Yeah, endings are tricky.
Yeah. But okay. Nothing else to say about that movie?
Nope, just see it.
Well, there's 6 movies for you guys that you should go see if you haven't seen them yet. And I guess that's it. Got anything else interesting to say?
No, just hopefully we're back at this whole podcast thing. We took a break for a while.
Yeah, I definitely want to do some more of these soon, and I've seen some things that I definitely want to talk about, so we will be in touch. Cool?
Cool.
All right, peace.
Peace out.